Hey Traumateers, and this week we're talking about books from our childhood that didn't suck. When Sweeney first proposed this topic, I jumped right on it, and then it took us a second to sort of think of the ways that it could go wrong. And the first thing she mentioned was that we cannot rank things to save our lives, and the second thing was that a lot of these we read as adult children. My third reservation is something that I think Sweeney can relate to, mostly because she mentioned in her vlog the Philip Pullman series. I started to read that series on her recommendation. While I was reading, she had anxiety almost over how I would receive this book that is such a favorite of hers, and I go through that all the time when I make a recommendation or when I go to talk about something that I love. It's just the anxiety of what will people think. Do other people think it's good? Will they ruin it for me? I ended up loving the first book in the His Dark Material series. I did not like the second book as much, and I'm currently reading the third book in my free time. And I also know that you don't have to love every entry in a series to love the series as a whole. And I bring that up because a few of you mentioned in the comments how much you don't like the Hunger Games trilogy series. I loved the first book. I liked the second book because it continued on with these characters that I grew to know and love. And I hated a big portion of the third book. But in the end, I can still recognize that it's an entertaining series. The concept, the characters really drive that first book into the second book and maybe even the third book, but since I hated the way it ended, I've never even reread the third book, but maybe one day I will. No one in the comments mentioned the book that or the series I should say, that I really want to focus on today. I actually reread the first book in the series not too long ago in order to review it, to give like an adult serious review of these are the things that are good and bad about this series. That ended up not working very well because I just love the book. My sister brought it home from the library for her reading program and she never returned it. It's the Chronicles of Narnia series, and this is The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I don't come from a family of big readers, so my collection and my library as a child was very limited. If I found a book, I kept it. If someone gave me a book, I treasured it. Maybe one of my favorite things about this one in particular is the dedication at the beginning. And C.S. Lewis writes to his goddaughter, "But someday you will be old enough to start reading fairy tales again." That is just the hallmark of a good children's book, is that it can be read by adult children and it can be revisited and you can find new things in it every time that you read it, and that is very much for me the Chronicles of Narnia series. Drawing up this list, I kind of realized that I had a few books that I really enjoyed as a child but that kind of ruined me for life, and under that category would be Bridge to Terabithia and The Giving Tree. So those two are very good books, I'm sure, but I remember being very traumatized emotionally by both of them. The first book that I remember receiving as a school assignment and just loving the pants off was The Witch of Blackbird Pond. It was amazing to me that I could sit there with a group of people and just discuss a book, so that speaks volumes about me, I'm sure, and it's not very much of a surprise considering what I do with all my free time. The Harry Potter series, which I didn't read until the last movie came out, which was that 2012 or something, so something very recently. I actually watched all of the movies. I hadn't seen any even as the last movie came out, so after that I had a marathon of all the movies, and then I went back and read all of the book. I thought it would be great to do it in that order because I always do it the opposite, read the book, watch the movie, and that was an interesting thing. I don't think I would do it again. So that's it. If you guys have any topics you want the Snark ladies to cover, please put that in the comments and we will absolutely consider all of them and probably talk about them because you know, we like to talk, which I think is the point of this vlog series. Sweeney will see you Tuesday and I will see you Friday.